Why, hello there. I'm Sin. We're in the Book Nook, and today we're going to talk about a book that is about vampires. I am a sucker for a good vampire book. And the one that we're going to talk about today is Coffin Moon by Keith Rosson. This is the third book that I've read by Keith Rosson. If you haven't had a chance to check out his duology, that is the Fever House duology, it is deranged and a wild ride of a story. And I have a standalone review for the first book if you want to get a little more feel for what those are about. I'll put a link down below to that. But this book, Coffin Moon, it follows the story of this guy named Dwayne Miner. He has recently returned from doing a tour in Vietnam. So this is the 70s, and he is working in a bar. He's trying to stay sober. He's been sober for about 18 months, and him and his wife, they live above the bar with their niece. Julia is 13 years old, and she's been having some issues at school recently and getting into fights and stuff. And so, considering like her background and where she came from, her mom is in jail, her stepdad is dead, and well, let's just say her stepdad was a POS. So, the world is better off not having that man around. They're just trying to give her a stable and good environment to grow up in. And it's a little weird because, they live above a bar and all that stuff. Miner is working in the bar. Everything seems to be going okay until one day that these two like burly biker dudes come in and they just like got bad vibes all around them. And Miner's like, what is this? What's going on here? And then they just like walk in the back and then like go in the back office. Like they own the place. And he's like, what the F? So he follows them and then like opens the office. And then the woman who owns the bar, which is his wife's mom, Joanne, is like, this is none of your business. We're fine. Go back up and do your thing up there. And he's like, what the F? So that happens, and he's like, okay, well, I don't remember if it's like immediately after, but maybe like a day or two later, these dudes come back in again. They start selling drugs out of the back of the bar. So he kicks them out, and then Joanne is like furious with him for doing this. And he's like, what in the F is going on? You got to clue me in here. Like, what is happening? So some stuff goes down. There's like a leader for these biker dudes, and it seems like there's some connection to this vampire dude, and then some really bad stuff happens. This kicks off our story with the main character and one of the other characters going after the head vampire guy because, well, the head vampire guy does something that upends his world. It's pretty horrible for him. I'm trying not to like give a spoiler for this. Also, if you don't want a spoiler, don't read the synopsis because then you'll know exactly what happened. A lot of people are going to read the synopsis and already know what happened, but I'm going to try not to say what happened. Maybe you can guess from all the things I'm saying. But anyways, he goes after this vampire. Now, I really like the way Rosson writes. He pulls you into the story and like there's all these just moving parts of what's going on. And you really get like a feel for the character and their emotions and why they do the things they do and whatnot. My only complaint with this book is that you never find out how Joanne found these biker dudes and finds this vampire guy because the vampire kind of promised her something. Because, okay, so her husband was dying of cancer, and somehow the vampire guy was going to be able to help the husband, right? Because vampires. So that's part of this too, but you're never privy to like how she found out about these people. And that, like, is that a plot hole? Maybe. Maybe, because how did she find out he was a vampire? How did she even believe it? And like what led to that? Like, did she hear rumors? There's nothing that really goes into that. So I don't know. Anyways, I really enjoyed this even with that because there's so much more to that story. It's more like after the crap hits the fan, Miner goes and tries to track down this vampire, which might be ending in certain death for him, but we don't know. It's a intense story. It's gruesome. It's brutal. There is weird tender moments on both sides because I mean the main vampire isn't completely devoid of emotion, but he's an effed up individual, that is for sure. But you get his like history and backstory too, so you see like how he was made into a vampire and like what he was like and what he came from, like his original family, like his dad was an alcoholic and all this stuff, and just it's a very interesting story. I like the characters. I like the flow of it. It is not sparkly vampires. This is a very dark, deranged, demented vampire. So if you like dark and demented, eerie and weird vampire stories, then you might just like Coffin Moon. If you liked The Fever House duology by Keith Rosson, I think you'll probably also like this one as well. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.